Welcome back, everybody. This is Mike from Door and Lock Tips, and we're going to be talking about a great Medeco product, their Protector 2 series padlock. Now, this is a high security padlock, unlike other locks from other brands. I have a couple in comparison. I mean, just to show you the difference. This is a master lock, and look at the difference. I mean, this is one monster, this Medeco. You have this little master lock, which works fine, you know, in a lot of little situations, such as a locker in an office. This would work fine. I really wouldn't put a lot of money into a locker lock because no matter what you put there, you can break right through it. And this is a nice little master lock. I know everybody can pick through them, but on a locker, that might be a good thing. Case of a situation where they need to get into it quickly, they're just going to cut these off anyway. This particular lock, they're not going to cut off. Let me tell you a couple of good things about a Medeco lock. And I'm a Medeco dealer, but I just wanted to show you the inside guts. Now here's all the pinning of this particular lock. And I'm going to pin up a cylinder, this cylinder right here. And I'm going to show you how fabulous these locks really are. Let's talk about this lock. This lock you can get from various suppliers. You can even get it from Amazon. I mean, Amazon has it way overpriced. Let's just look at this offering, which is $295. Does not say the pinning of the lock. They just say high security. But no, this lock in particular, you can get it with a different keying system. I'm a dealer, so I can get it in all my flavors. I can go with bi-level, biaxial, I can go with Medeco X4 system. When you see a lock that's called Medeco, which this is a real Medeco brand lock, and it is the Predator 2 on Amazon, but you're not necessarily going to get any type of high security key that I can put into this. So these pins and the system that I'm going to put into this is a biaxial. Biaxial is a proprietary key. This key has a slider on the side that I had to buy. If you go to a locksmith, have a Medeco Predator 2 high security padlock, he'll ask you, well, what system do you want me to put that on? How much do you want to spend? The lock body, if you get it from Amazon, you're going to get a really nice lock body. This shackle is boron. Let's talk about the shackle. All right, this particular master lock, it says, I don't know if you can see that there, it says hardened right up there on the top of the shackle. But this says boron alloy. There is a scale, it's the MOHS scale for hardness on material. As a diamond goes, that's number 10 on that scale. And your fingernail, that's 2. So 10 is diamond, 2 is your fingernail hardness. And what do you guess boron comes in at? This boron material that they make solid for this shackle is a number 9.3 on that MOHS scale of hardness. Can you believe it? Just a little bit under diamond. So if they could form a diamond, which they can't, into this shackle, I'm thinking that's the only other hardness you could get besides boron. This is stainless, this is boron. So if I was to go into a locker and they had one of these bad boys on, I'd just soon cut off the cleat that holds this on versus cut through this material. I'd be there a long time trying to cut the boron off. So there's one hardness feature about this lock, and then this is all stainless. Let's just look how huge this thing is. I mean, it's heavy for me to hold it. 2 3/8 inch long, the main body on this lock. And let's look at the width on this thing. It's 1 5/8. What a monster. Now, if I was to buy these locks right now from my supplier, so I have an account with Zero, and this particular padlock, which I like better, okay, this has a dust guard on the bottom. Highly recommend you buy a dust guard for the bottom of these locks. Unbeknownst to me, dirt gets into these bad boys. You know, I didn't think about the area where I'd be setting these, you know, on gates and things of that nature. And the guys take these heavy locks off, they drop them in the dirt. And then you have a cylinder problem because these high security pins, they really don't like sand. Don't get it the way I got it. Get a dust cover on the bottom. It's really the reason why I'm repinning this particular lock. I had a dust problem. You see, I had to take the lock back, credit them all the money on the lock and all my work, and repinned in brand new cylinder. What a hassle, all because I didn't buy a dust cover. I should have thought about that a little bit. But, you know, live and learn. That's why I'm telling you this. That's the tip of the day. If you're going to buy this boron Medeco Predator 2, buy it from a locksmith. Have them pin it up according to their key. Don't buy it from Amazon. Don't even buy this one that I'm showing you from this company, Zero. It's even lower security. It doesn't even show any high security pins in it. Let's look at the price. This is $207. The shackle is 2 1/2 inch. I highly suggest that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I bought them as a 2 inch, and so they're a little under 2. That's the inside measurements between here and here. 2 inch. So it's actually, you're losing an eighth on the bend of the round. 2 1/2 inch. Look at how much higher that is. That's way better. So here's 2. And here's 2 1/2. I'm liking this better. I could have slid this on other little cleats that are on things by having that extra length. Get the dust cover and get the 2 1/2 inch. Oh, and by the way, guess what? This particular shackle comes in different thicknesses. You got to really know the thickness of the hole that this little shackle is going to go through. This one is 7/16, which is their thickest they offer. And then they have 5/16, I believe. Now, you want the 7/16. Now let's look at the meat and potatoes of this beautiful, beautiful lock. Medeco Predator 2. You have the lock. You have a special little ring. It goes over the top of all the mechanism, and there's a pin in here that holds this ring in place. So when you put this down in here, you have to turn it like this, and now it pops into that little spring-loaded ball bearing. All the works is completely covered. There's no screw that when you take this out, you know how a lot of locks you have a screw and you unscrew it and the cylinder will come out the end. Oh no, not with this killer Medeco Predator 2 lock. I mean, it's all encased. There's no way this cylinder can be drilled and pulled out of here. It's covered. And then you have this bottom cover, which, you know, I'd have this dust cover as well if I ordered it again. This cover is a pick-proof cover, and it has a notch on it, so it would be in this position on the inside of the lock. And so if you're trying to pick through it, which, let's get real here, no one's picking through these locks. But if I use my biaxial pins that I'm showing you right here, they're all cut on an angle. They're not picking through these. And the key has a slider on the side. How are they going to get through this little small opening? You know, it gives them very little room to pick. I mean, they're going to work weeks on this. I know there's a couple guys on the internet that have claim to fame on a lot of stuff, but you know, I'd like to know how long they spend picking on one of these locks and how much video they throw away, you know, after they say, oh, I got through it. And, you know, it's like 1 minute. They're just not doing that. Here's the cover on the bottom. And then inside, let's take this apart again. There, I'm taking this big heavy plate out of there. So we'll put that right there. And inside, this holds the inside of the shackle. So let's say you're going to run a shim down on each side of these bad boys. Let's say you think you can do that. Well, you're not shimming through this plate. See that little slot inside there? And it houses that cutout inside the lock. So there's no shimming, there's no ball bearing that pushes, or you could hit it with a rubber mallet and ball bearings. There's nothing like that. This side over here is held in by the opposite side of the beautiful little plate. Let's look at how thick this thing is. It is a 1/4 inch. So you can't shim it, and you can't drill it. You got solid boron. I'm thinking this is super commercial industrial. This is for government use. And the price reflects that. My price on this would be about $180 or so, $185. And then I have my cylinder I have to add to it. That's another $100. And each pin is about $3 a piece. So now you're kind of getting the idea of the price of these things for real. I'm going to mark the lock up at least 25%, and my time to pin this cylinder and make the phone calls. So there we have it. Now I'm going to pin up this cylinder right in there, so it comes sub-assembled, and I'm going to put all the little pins, and I have them all laying out. This is biaxial pins in this bad boy, so nobody's picking through this ever. The only problem is dirt. Oh, I tell them that in the beginning. Don't be dropping this in the dirt. Take some lubricant. You spray it in this lock every 6 months. See that little nib on the top there? That little nib sticks out and goes in a slot. Sticks on this slot right here. So when I'm pinning it, I have to make sure that nib is facing this direction, which lines the pins up perfectly for these angled key cuts. Is this wonderful or what? If I try to put this little nib in the wrong direction, opposite direction, watch what happens. It won't go down. It only can go down if it's in the right direction, in that little slot there, this little slot right here on this side, and watch. Oh, it went down in the chamber. There it is. I've already laid out all the pins, and these are the stacks, the master wafers, and they're pretty huge. Go ahead and pin this up. So like I said, these beautiful pins are used pins. I pulled them out of the dirty system. They have that little nub, which is right here on the side of the pin, right there. And it's going to go in this slot on this side. So I use this lab pinning tray, which I completely love. And I laid it out. The number 1 pin is in the beginning, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. And I have them all nicely laid out with the springs and all that good stuff. I'm going to put in the first pin, and I can do it by hand, or I could use a lab pinning tweezer. But I'm going to do it by hand because I don't want to drop these around. So make sure that little nub is on this side of the cylinder. I put that in first. I have a tool right here that helps me push that down. I want that all the way down in the stack. It's right there sticking down. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. Now these can get flipped over, kind of like a best system. We want to be careful loading these up. There we go. I got it in. It's down inside there. It's flat. I don't think we're going to get light down in the chambers for you all to see in there. Notice the top driver pin. It's all special high security. So I'm going to put the thicker part down. I called Medeco and they said, put that thicker part down. So that's how I'm going to load this cylinder. Just like that. That's beautiful. Now I'm not going to put the spring in. I could to test the system, but I know that I've tested this like 3 times. Notice this is like a key and knob cylinder. It's the same kind of setup. So the Bible, the top pins are all up here. It's already sub-assembled. The side here is where the slider's at. So buy it sub-assembled, you locksmiths. Now we're going to put in the next pin. Take that nub again, line that up with the outside part here, and it will only go in if it's right. Okay, period. I got it in that slot. Little fun stuff you've never seen before. I'm going to grab their tool. This has several uses. I like it just to load up the cylinders. And I'm looking down in here. I don't know if you can see down in there. Maybe you can. But everything's flat. All right, now I'm going to take this next top driver pin, put it down in there. I'm going to take the bottom, cut on angles. Oh, and I did discover something. I thought M and Q were interchangeable because I do have an M and a Q, and I was wrong. I put them in backwards. I put them around the opposite direction, and nothing worked. All right, we'll put in the third chamber now. This third chamber is really a 4M. So that's what a 4M looks like. We'll go ahead and put this in with my fingers. 4M, no master pins anymore. There we have it. Everything should be down there a ways. And our next pin, 6S. We're going to go ahead and put this in. I got that little nib. Got to make sure I can see this thing. Got the nib. Put it in the slot in the fourth chamber. Make sure it's down. Oh, and look at here. The top driver is metal. A different weight. So if they tried to bump this, you know, they're never getting through this stuff, guys. Just so you know. That's all staged. Of course, I'll have some of you guys telling me that's not true. Oh, these guys are all for real. All right, there we have it. Push down. I like this little beauty. This is to hold down the top springs when you're finally putting the cover over. So let's put on the. Let me look in here. Let me make sure I put that top driver in. You know, you get talking. Yes, I did. It's metal. It didn't look shiny to me. Forgot it was metal. Isn't that cool? Metal top driver. They have thought of everything, this Medeco company. I love Medeco, and I know some of you do. I have had it in my comment section. I don't really see anybody pinning these up, especially a padlock. So I'm hoping you're going to stay to the end, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends, and, you know, I'll be able to make more videos like this. There we have it. I got it straight so it goes down in there. There we have it. And I'm taking my time because whether you know it or not, I've already messed this up. I'm going to take it apart again. No master pins in the first and second. You could actually have them all the way down, but I just don't want any more master pins than I have to. Take this last pin. We're going to line that little nub up. And this last pin is a 3M. Stick that in so it lines up with that slot. Goes on down, straight up and down. And look at that. Isn't that a killer looking little top driver? If I've done all this properly, and I hope I have, everything's going to work. But if I haven't, I'll know it right off the bat. These are stainless steel springs. Big ones. Look at them springs. They're all stainless. They don't want it to corrode. So I go ahead and load all the springs on. Now you'll see the beauty of this. You've seen me in the past have to pound on the covers. Well, not on Medeco. All you have to do, if you don't make a mistake and flip this over while you're doing it, right? You push down and you stick this little jewel over the top. Look how easy this is. Over the top, and then it crimps in here. And make sure we're all the way. And then I just take this out. See that? I slid that out from underneath, and I got it covered. Now, moment of truth. Does this work with my key? Look at all those slots. Oh, it does. I'm liking it. But watch this. If I need a little lubricant, these keys, if this was in a lock, it'd be way easier to pull it out. But because everything's cut on slots, it's not like a standard pin system where they're roundy. But if you just try to turn this, it catches. But if you push in, it doesn't catch. All right, let's load this biaxial cylinder into the padlock. So there's the tailpiece from the factory, and that will engage inside this beautiful Predator 2 lock. So let's go ahead and do that. This is a little blow up of how this all works. This shackle could either be a 2 or 2.5 inch boron. Ooh boy, that's almost as hard as diamond. Got the shackle, which does not come out of this lock. Then you have this cover, and they call that, that's a number 9, so that'd be a retaining cap. Okay, that's that retaining cap right there. And then this beauty, this little thing that takes the place of ball bearings, that is a number 8, and that's the bolt. There's the bolt. Nice name for it. And then this bottom part, which is this little piece right here, that's the disc. So they use that to keep you from picking through this thing. There's a little M on it. Nice little beautiful stainless steel disc. But you know, you'd have this, and if you get the right lock, you'd have a dust cover on the bottom of the lock. Now I see how it works. I can see where all the names are at, right? So let's go ahead and put in the disc first. So you got to kind of flip it down in there. See, it's all, look at this thing. It's all molded. So there was a sand mold or some kind of mold when they poured this stainless steel. Now you got to put this in the proper way. And I'm going to look, well, it's flat on the bottom. And this little cutout's got to line up inside. So it's flat on the bottom. I'm not going to say it's going to land properly in there. You just go ahead and take this thing and get it down in there. And you got to kind of flip it with your finger. And I don't want to tip it over. Yeah. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can hold it. Yeah. So if you hold it, see, it's got to line up. And I'll go ahead and line this up. This is where you do a cut with your video. See what a locksmith goes through just to get this down on there. All right, I got it down on there. Oh, it's down in there. Now, you take your beautiful cylinder, and you're supposed to drop this down in. We'll grab a hold of it. And it really pays to read the manual. It does. Now I stick my key down in there, okay? Because the key has a lot to do with how this all functions. Right, I stick the key down in. I got it all the way seated. Now I'm going to take the bolt. And see the arrow? The arrow goes to the back here. And I found the best way to do this is move this little shackle up against the face, the name, right there. So I take the bolt. You got to turn the key to get the bolt to turn in there properly. And it's going into that slot on the back side of the shackle. Turn it so I got it open. Now I'm going to take this beautiful little cover. They call that retaining cap number 9. The ball bearing, spring-loaded, pressed in there. I can push it up and down, and that's going to go into that little cutout. And then I'm going to turn it to line up with the shackle hole. So it's like a half moon. First of all, you have to line these flats up with the cuts, these flats right there. This is kind of fun. See that little spring inside underneath that bearing's holding this up. So you push it down, you turn it. No one can get this cover off when the lock is closed. So now it's in the lock position. You have a little bit of play, but you saw how hardened everything is in there. And they're not getting through this boron. They're not putting a shim in there because it'll hit the bolt on the inside, no ball bearings. And now I take my key out, which came out relatively easy. But I would take some Triflow. I'm not going to spray it in there now. I'm going to spray it in there. And if you have a cover over the bottom, you have a indestructible, beautifully pinned Medeco by Asa Abloy Medeco biaxial, because I pinned it up. I'm a locksmith. I own that key, that biaxial key, in my little flavor. And I just turn that thing, and that is just how it works. There's a little bit of slop and everything, but they don't want it to be too binding. They're not cutting it off. They're not taking a blowtorch to it. They're going to have real trouble shooting through it. It'll take, like, I don't know, submachine gun for 2.5 hours blowing on it to get through it. And then, even then, it's just so distorted, you have to knock it off with a sledgehammer of some kind. So there we have it, guys. Please subscribe to my channel, and you will find out more about Medeco, the wonderful Medeco stuff. You can buy this off the shelf, but if you buy it from a locksmith, it'll be keyed up to a master key system of his flavor. Highly suggest you get it from a locksmith, because then you're going to have high security all the way. So there you have it. Please tell your friends, and I'll have more door and lock tips like this coming to you in the future. And you won't be boroned from it. Oh, that's a cheesy joke. What a lock. I love this lock. And listen, I don't know if you can hear that. Ah, it sounds so good. What a lock. Medeco. Thank you, Medeco. Thank you, and please subscribe to my channel. Almost forgot. So here's the pins, the pinning kit. This is my biaxial pinning kit. And that's what I'm talking about. The K, the M, the B, the D, the Q, and the S. Well, here's the different lengths of pins, and they're in K line. And this is the K line for that. This is the M line. So that's how you pin up. What a nice, beautiful system. Top covers. There's some sliders. Well, there you have it, guys. Please tell your friends, subscribe to my channel for more door and lock tips.